it's Kay from the Paper Shed. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for coming back and joining me for day 24 of the hashtag ABC April 2025, hosted by the lovely Margerth from Seven Plaza and the gorgeous Toni from Crafting by Toni. What an event. It's ending too soon. We've only got, 5 days left after today. So we're on the 24th and it is the letter U. And the prompts were upcycle or underneath. Yeah, so for the underneath, I was going to do like sort of hidden journal spots and things like that. But then I thought, well, no, let's do some upcycling because we've all got loads of it. So I thought, no, let's upcycle something. So I'm going to go and get my junk. I'm going to go and see what I can find, and I'm going to come back. Okay, so I had a multitude of things, but it was my birthday a couple of days ago, and I received these beautiful, beautiful bouquet of flowers from a friend of ours, and they're from Rare Flowers, Qatar, and it came with this beautiful envelope, and I've kept the card out of it, and it came with this piece and this piece. It's in Arabic. I can't read it, so I have no idea what it says. So I'm thinking, actually, this envelope needs trimming down. It's been put together wrong. No, it hasn't. It's just been put together skew width, and I can't live with that. So I'm going to have to cut it down. Okay, that's better. And so I thought, rather than make something, we are supposed to be upcycling. So I thought we'd make a nice, keep that as an envelope and decorate it. And we would just keep these as cards to go inside and decorate those. So I thought that's what we'd do. But I was asked about, right at the very beginning, I think it was. Let me just close the box and then you'll get it. I did some tags using some card that we have cakes in. Now we have 2 little cakes in this when my husband gets them from there. It is a French, Belgian place. And they're lovely little boxes, actually. And I was cutting them up. I cut them up and I get 5 tags out of this box, which, decent sized tags. And somebody said, could you show us how you do it? So here I am showing you how to do it. So I'm just taking away the card that is stuck down, and then you end up with this. Okay. Now usually they're covered with greaseproof paper, the cakes, so you don't normally get some mess. We've got a little bit of mess on this one, but I don't mind. It's not too bad, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these off. Cut them, okay, rather than rip them. So I'm just going to take off these ends off both sides because they're not really any good to you for tags, but they may be good for other things. Now the ones that have got creases in them, you're probably not going to be able to get much out of those. Okay, so let's just have a look at what we've got. And this is what I do really with a lot of my boxes. So these ones, although this is a nice decent size, these could become pockets, crisscross pockets on a page. So I'm not going to throw them away this time. I probably wouldn't want the scored line on because it's card. It doesn't need to have it as reinforcement. So I'm going to just chop those off for now. So they would become 2 little pockets on a page. So we're going to do the same with these 2 here. And we'll probably chuck the triangles away. Okay. So we have 4 pockets. And this is out of this one tiny box. Okay. And then if we turn these over, these are all the sticky parts. So all I'm going to do with those is I'm just going to keep those for labels. Okay, I'm just going to keep them for little labels. I put them up as I go along. So I'm just going to get the trimmer And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it through, and I'm going to cut on each of those score lines. Okay, just to get a sense of where we are with the box. And that's going to create your 5 tags. Oh, I've ripped that. Okay. So we have 3 thinner pieces, and I'll tell you what size they are in a minute, and I've got 2 larger pieces. Now I'm not going to cut the larger pieces down this time, I normally do. And then what I'm going to do is on these ones, I'm just going to take off the bits where there's any sort of score line left. Okay, I'm just going to trim those up. So I now have a piece, and you'll have 3 of these, don't forget, that are just shy of 2 3/4, which is great for a tag, a decent size tag. And you can leave these at about 7, anything from 6 to 7 to, you know, maybe a bit more. I usually take mine down to about 6. So that's what I'm going to do, just so that I've got a tag. So I'm going to do that to these ones as well. So with any boxes that I get, rather than store them, I try to cut them down to decent sized pieces that can be used in my everyday crafts, really. Okay, so that's my second tag. This one's pretty clear. Just need to take off that side there. Just level that up. Take that down to 6. So I've got 3 tags. They're cream on the back, which you can dibby dabby or whatever, and then you can cover the front bits because obviously you don't want that. Okay, so I've got one that's completely white and obviously cream on the back, and those 2 which are printed on, which is the side that you would tend to cover when you're doing your tags. So you've got 3 tags there, which are 2 3/4 by, what did I say, 6. And then these ones here, now this one's just plain, so you don't really need to do anything with that, but that's a label. That's the start of any label, a cluster, whatever. And then you have these ones that you've cut off the end of your 2 printed ones. Now what I tend to do with these, because I don't like the depth of that, is I will just cut them down to just leave another little border around that black line, and straight away you've got another tag, another label. So I just cut around those. Okay, that's what we do. So we've got 3 labels, 3 tags, and these are our bits up to yet. Okay, and then with these ones we're just going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to trim them up to where I can. With that one, I've got a bit of a lip on there, so I'll just trim that down, and I've got a bit of a lip on this side here, so I'm just going to trim that down. And now I've got a piece of card that is 4 1/4 wide. I can tell on there, can't I? 4 1/4 wide by 7 3/4 high, and it's only because I've got that rip in it. But that's useful, you know, that you can use that for lots of things. Journaling cards, tags, whatever. So you've got another decent piece there. I normally cut them down to tag size, and I normally do the 3.5 size tags. So I normally cut them down to 3.5 and suffer the waste. But this time I'm going to leave them, because there's been a few occasions just lately where I've wanted a bigger piece of card, and this would have been fine had I left them at that size. So if I just get rid of this, because I don't really need to cut anything on the other bit, I'm going to show you what I've got. So I've got 2 large pieces, 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. I've got 3 tag size which are 2 3/4 by 6. I've got 3 size labels or starts of clusters. I've got these scrap pieces which can be used for backing, or they can be used for labels, or they can be used for whatever you need a piece of card for, which I don't touch. And then what we've got here is we've got 2 pieces of each one that we can use for a pocket page. So if we just get my page, then what you can do with these is you can pop one on that side, you can pop one on that side, and you can have like a triangle pocket. Now, if you really wanted to, you could do it again at the top, because you've got 4 of these, and you could use that as a tuck space. Same with this one, really, just use them as tuck spaces. You can use one on one page. You know, you could create an interesting little tuck pocket there. You could use these for multiple things. So, as I say, there's quite a lot there. So you've got 4 pockets, 3 labels, 3 decent tags, and 2 large pieces of card. And then you've got 4 pieces of extra card there, which you can use for starting clusters or a label or whatever it is you want. So none of my cake box really goes to waste, apart from the score lines. And that's how I get all of that out of my box. And I like to do it with a lot of my cereal boxes and things. Now, I don't tend to cut my cereal boxes up into little pieces like this, because my cereal boxes I tend to use for covers or, larger things. But anything that you've got small, so if you've got freezer boxes, food boxes that you've had food in, and that isn't enough to keep, cut them down so that you're not actually storing loads and loads of boxes and pieces. They're at hand, you haven't got to think about it, and it's perfect. It's just a great way to use your card. I mean, it's like my husband bought me a new iPad, and this was the cover box. So the box came in a box, so there was 2 boxes. I mean, admittedly, they were only sort of an inch wide. It's really sturdy cardboard. Now, this has got a crease in it. I don't know why it's got a crease in it. Have I done that? I probably did, actually, to store it, but anyway. But so I've got 2 lots out of this one, and I just took off all the score lines and then just kept them at decent sizes for me to be able to use. But I mean, that would make a great pocket on a page that way, or you could put it down and have it that way. And it's the start of it. It's the start of something that you generally wouldn't have a look at. So what we're actually going to do today, though, for upcycling, is we're going to upcycle these. And these are the things that came with my flowers the other day, as I was saying. Perfect little envelope and perfect little cards to go inside, letters. Now, I could leave that as it is because it's completely plain with just RG on. I don't actually know what the RG stands for, because the actual thing is called Rare Flowers. So I'm not actually sure why. But anyhow, that's what it says. So you could literally just put a little bit of a cluster on this. Little bit of a cluster on it. And, you're ready to go, really. You're ready to roll. And this one would just need covering. So, yeah, I would put something there. Even if it was just a circle, or even a flower, look. We could put a flower on it. Have I got something? Let me just see. So I've got a nice little array of flowers there, which we could cut off at the top. And that would make just a nice, lovely little journal card. Then on this one, we'd have to cover it. It's plain on the back, so I'm not too fussed about that. But yeah, we could cover that. You could corner these. I quite like that, actually, but I want something smaller. Let's pop it in here. See, I've got this yellow one here. Oh, see, that's cute if I just cut that down. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, just ink that up and pop that on there. Corner the edges, and I think we can call that one done. up there then. Trouble is, you want to keep it to the same sort of theme, don't you, really? Yeah, sort of do. Well, no, because as long as we use flowers, I suppose that would be enough, wouldn't it? Now, I'd have enough on there to cover that. I'm just trying to use up scraps off my desk. Okay. So I've got enough to cover that, and that looks pretty cool. So I'm just going to glue that on. I'm just going to use my glue stick though, I think. And I'm just going to stick that over the top there. Okay, and then I've got these flowers here, which I'm just going to put on the bottom here. I'm liking it. I'm only using collab because it's on hard, you know, where thicker card, and yeah, I'm thinking from the bottom of the paper. Yeah, like that. Let's just ink that up, and yeah, that'll be good to go too. So now what we want is just something. Yeah, we could actually just put some. I don't like the fact that it's white, but it is what it is. So shall we just round the corners on this? Maybe not so heavy. Let's just try that one. Yeah, just the small one because I've put that square on already. And we could ink that up, and that'll make a nice difference to that. Do the back. But if you don't like the plain white, you could actually stencil. You could stamp something on the back, you know, or just leave it. I quite like it like it is. I think that's quite nice now. So I think we'll do this one as a bigger corner on this one. Okay, I'm going to ink it up just because I've got the ink out. And then I think what I might do is, I'm going to leave the back same as the other one, but I think I will put something on the front. I'll see what I've got. And it doesn't have to be, you know, one full piece. You can put different ones on. Let's just see what we've got left. This was something that I was doing the other day. So you could put that piece down there, and then we could put a piece on here if I ripped it, which is what I think I'll do. And then that gets that off my desk and used up. And didn't really want to do it with a ruler, so I'm going to stick that on. I want to round that corner. It's because it's thinner paper. Okay, and then this part can go a little higher, and we can put that to there, thereabouts. Put that off, do that, and then that one can go a little lower down, and that piece can go on there. And if I turn that round, then that gets rid of that straight line. I like that. Let's see if I can just round this corner now. No, it doesn't like it, does it? I need something a bit thicker. for it to go in and cut it. There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that around so that I can put that down there and that there. I'll put that up a little bit higher. Yep, I think that'll suffice. I just need to ink around this piece. Okay, and then I just want to just give this a little bit of an ink just around those raw edges where we've cut. Okay, I'm going to use collab and I can move it around. Okay, so I want it at the top of that stem, just so it looks like it's at the bottom of there. There we go. Oh, there we are. Just get that seepage off. And then same with this one. Okay. I'll put that quite low down and have that up there like so. And I'm going to leave the backs pretty plain. So that's changed those completely, hasn't it? So I know there were writing spaces before, but they're even better writing spaces now. So what we're going to do with the envelope is we're going to need to cover the back and the front because it's already got markings on it. But I am going to ink it while I'm here. So I'll just find some paper. So I'm going to go with some collage paper, I think. Yeah, so the front, that would be nice on the front. I just need to trim that edge. Just take that off because it obviously didn't go through the printer correctly. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to mark that where I want it. And there with a pencil. So I want that about there. And I want that about there. And I'll just trim that out. That's quite nice, actually. We want that about there. And then I want that about there. That's nice. I'm not going to round the edges, but I'm just going to ink them. Where's my inker? Okay. And then that can get glued onto there like so. Okay. Perfect. Now, although this one doesn't match, I'm wondering if I can get the lip of that drawn onto there. Yeah. So I'm just going to draw around that, and then I'm just going to cut that out. Let's see what that looks like. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to stick it on and then cut it. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let me just, I don't need to ink until afterwards, but I just need to ink that back line. Just need to ink this one, just because it's some of the bits that you can cut, that you're going to cut. So just going to stick that on. And because this side fits this corner, I'm going to, yeah, I'll just have to wait just for a mo. Make sure that that's stuck down. It's not hindered. Okay, so I'm just going to cover this one now. And I think I'd like hair on there. So I'm going to trim that up here. And then, yeah, see it's crooked. So I don't really think we can do much about it. Because it was made up off, it's made the top off centre, so there isn't a lot we can do about it. And then this side in there. Okay. So I'm just going to ink that. We are going to need to do that notch as well. Yeah. I know what I should have done. I should have taken a picture first of what it was like before. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just cut that notch out with my scissors. And I just need to trim that up now, don't I? Where's my little scissors? There they are. So I'm just going to trim that by just going around the edge of that flap. Don't need to do the inside. It's actually even got the double-sided tape to seal it still on it because it wasn't used at all. Oh, cool. So I'll just edge that. Okay, so I'll clear my desk and then I'll show you what we have. Okay, so I've cleared away my desk and that's what we're left with. I think that's wonderful. I'm quite happy with that. It's not taken any time at all to do. It's a really sturdy envelope as well. And you've got a couple of journaling cards there to go inside. Now, I did add a couple of words on there, just sentiments, and a sentiment here. And I just added a floral bit and a couple of little tags, tickets there. How lovely is that? So that's our upcycling done for today. And that'll go in any journal, really. I mean, I've made it as part of the green journal that I'm doing, but this is, you could do anything with these. And it's quite easy and quick and simple to do. So I hope you found that interesting, and it encourages you to sort of look at packaging and see what you can do with it and any upcycling that you have in mind. Because it's just a great way to create without actually creating. All you're doing is embellishing, really. So I hope that's given you something to think about, and it gives you the encouragement to go ahead and just look at things differently. Just see what you can do with upcycling things with just a few bits of paper and some small embellishments. And it's quite nice to see what you get. So yeah, give it a go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with the letter V. Bye for now.